Hello, welcome to today's webinar here on Retorno. Today, we're talking about what you can do to navigate the relationship with your young adult as they leave home for a gap year, whether it's a seminary or yeshiva program, tourism, midrasha, or any other program. With your child thousands of miles away, what's your job as parents? What if he's drinking or smoking weed? Is that normal? Is it a more serious problem? How to react appropriately to your kids without letting your fear take over? What message do you give over when they talk to you openly? Do you get on the first plane there? Is there anything else you can do? Yehuda Liff, a social worker and lecturer in Retorno's prevention programs, will answer these questions and more.
I'm happy to be here for you tonight. Today we're going to speak about a very important subject, speaking about what happens when we send our kids out there to deal with themselves, dealing with life, sending them out to college, sending them to Israel to be a year in yeshiva or in STEM. And suddenly we hear different kind of problems coming out, different kind of issues our kids are dealing with. Could be we hear from the kids calling us saying, hey, I was out Thursday night, I was out Motzei Shabbos, I was drinking too much. And in some way we want to help them, and we don't always know exactly what are we supposed to do in that case. And what happens when something a little bit bigger comes out? And then the yeshiva calls us and they say, hey, it's a problem. We don't know how to deal. He's going out too much. And she's drinking all the time. He has the issue of drinking. And we right away, most of the people, when they'll hear that, the reaction will be, oh my God, what are we supposed to do? Okay, that's a good question for the parents. And I think knowing what we're supposed to do could be a very big part of the solution. We don't always speak about, and we always know what they are supposed to do. They're supposed not to drink. They're supposed not to be there. What are we supposed to do? What's our job being a parent, sending out the kid out there and really dealing with life? When I grew up, my father was a Rosh Yeshiva, and American Yeshiva over here in Israel, and the yeshiva name was Ner Yaakov. And I remember being there in the yeshiva. I remember the problem of drugs, problem of alcohol. I remember my father running out every week. Happens the stories about the guy that's drunk in town, and he went bananas, and everything is going wrong. And I do remember all the time how much my father used to speak with the parents. And I think that's something I want to pass today in this short time we have together, and really understanding what's our job. What are we could stop it. We could let them not deal with it. When it's a problem, when it's an addiction, when our kid, when he drinks, when is it? When we will say it's an addiction, when we say it's a normal way of life. And then when we hear about the drugs, when we'll hear about the weed too much and that kind of stuff, then also we want to ask the question, when it's normal, when it's not normal. So I'll take a not normal example of a young yeshiva guy came to us in Retorno together with the Rosh Yeshiva, and they had no clue what to do with him. He came after Yom Kippur, after the guy was in coma for 3 days, after he was out of town, fighting with people, taking pills to make himself feel stronger, and he fell down for a coma for almost 3 days in yeshiva. And they come to us and they say, we don't know what to do with him. And the guy didn't want to come to rehab, of course, he said, and I sat down together with him. And I remember that time he was a little bit stoned, and he was in a happy place, but not in a good place. And I sat down together with him. And most people, when I speak to kids all around, when I come from a rehab, they're going to be sure I'm going to speak how bad drugs is, how bad is the alcohol for you. It will kill you. It will bring you. It's addiction. It's horrible. It doesn't work. It's pretty much like speaking to people, after they start smoking and they see on the cigarette box, they see it's going to kill you. Most people, when they see that after they smoke, so they get so pressurized, so they need a cigarette now. So it doesn't really work. So what we want to explain is what's standing behind it. So I'm speaking to this guy, let's call him Binyamin. I'm speaking to Binyamin, he's sitting down next to me, and he's sure again, he'll get this conversation about the drugs, the problem. And I'm speaking to him, and I see the pain inside his eyes. I see the place he feels not good inside. He's sad inside. He's not happy. And I'm speaking about what sometimes we hide under the drugs, under the alcohol, under the good time in life. How we sometimes escape from ourselves, and no one really doesn't know who's inside there, who's that Binyamin. And Binyamin was sitting down together with me. And I remember he told me, listen, I'm not coming to rehab, no way. I told him, maybe. I said, I see inside your eyes all that suffering inside. And I see no one that is not understanding. And everybody's trying to really get you to stop taking the drugs, mixing up what you're dealing with. And Binyamin came to the rehab in the end of the day. He passed a very, very long way to really find what was inside there. What was the emotions he was hiding? What was the relationships inside his life? He pretty much messed up, running away every time he had a problem. But he got to realize the main idea. A person is smoking drugs, a person is drinking alcohol. Alcohol is not the problem. Exactly like addiction to food. The food is not the problem. The problem is I feel something and I don't always know how to deal with it. And I'm trying to deal with it different ways. And suddenly the guy found that something that gives him a good feeling. And then his parents call and they find out and they get like, oh my God, you can't do that, it's bad for you. He said, that's the only thing that does good for me. So if we do understand, most people when they drink alcohol, let's say 60% of the people drinking alcohol, they drink because it's a good time, they have a good time with it. And when they'll have consequences, it won't be so good for them, they'll stop. Some people, let's say 30% of the people, drinking not only because they want to have a good time, they drink, they want to be part of the game, they want to be a part of the chevra, they want to be, it's because everyone is drinking, we have to be a part of it. And then we have a little bit more of a problem. Then we try to help them a little bit more. But that's not the main problem. The 10% is drinking already because they're hiding something inside, because they don't know how to deal with it. And if we'll be honest with ourselves, and we will ask ourselves, do we have also sometimes when we don't know how to deal with something, and we have these things, we want to run away, we want right away to find a solution? And I think when a kid is calling us, or the yeshiva is calling us about the kid, and right away our reaction is, we have to find a solution. It doesn't work like that. I think the kid is now dealing with something, and he's asking for help when he's calling. The yeshiva is asking for help. They don't know how to deal with it sometimes. And a lot of cases, they'll say, okay, I'm taking a plane, I'm going to Israel, I'm going to pick him up. It doesn't work like that too. Because also if we will take out the thing he's running away for, he's running away to alcohol now, he's going out of town too much, it won't really help if we understand something is hiding inside. So what are we supposed to do? So we understand that something is hiding behind there, but we don't know how to get to him. So the first rule we want to understand, what happens to us when we get scared? Okay, the biggest problems we do is when we're scared. The biggest problems we do is with our kids. We could be amazing with everyone, but because our kids are so important to us, so our fear is a lot stronger. So we try to catch them. We try to take the responsibility they are supposed to take, and we're trying to take it instead of them. So our job is, first of all, when we have that, we get nervous, first of all, breathe. We don't know always, we won't always have the answers. We could ask for answers. We could talk to people. We could trust people. Exactly like we want our kids to really ask for help too. So I'll give you an example for that. Okay, it could be in every age, but I'll speak about, I'll bring an example. One of my kids, named Daniel, when he was 10 years old, I found under his cushion a pillow. Okay, I found under that a 10 shekel. He took money somewhere. So I know my reaction will be right away because I'm a parent. I'm worried about it. I want to know what happened, and I want my son not to steal money, of course. But because I know I'll do my mistakes, because that's always what's happened. I come right away. I want right away to figure out what to do, and then my mistakes begin. So my job is, first of all, to take care of Yehuda. So first of all, to see what's bothering me, and then I have to come. Then I'll have maybe a little bit more ability to help him. So I sat down with myself. I had a session with myself, and I sat down and I wrote down all my fears inside of that, because that's a lot of fear when I hear something like that. And that's only 10 shekel. That's not my kids smoking drugs or something. And I wrote it down. I realized what happened to me. And then at night, I came to him. I gave him a big hug. And I told him, Daniel, how are you feeling? And he told me, okay. Yeah, everything's okay. I told him then from where these 10 shekel came from. Okay, now he knows I work in Retorno. He knows I work with all the biggest liars in the world. So, and I told him, I want to know the truth. You don't have to tell me if you don't want. Don't tell me something not honest, like we will say to our kids. And then I come to him and I'm hugging him, and I see him. He's going inside, he's putting his head inside the pillow. And then suddenly he says to me, my wife is an exercise teacher, so she has the box with change inside. And he told me I took it from the change box. And I look at him and tell him, you serious? And when you hug a kid, you realize right away you're doing a mistake or not. And right away he comes out of the hug. He doesn't want to be there anymore. And I tell him, are you serious? You really wanted to go to sleep? And I'm asking you, how are you? And you're answering everything is okay, and you hide such a secret from your father? He said, yeah. I was afraid. I told him, I'm happy you don't have to go to sleep with a secret. It's a bad feeling. And then he goes to me, and then he said, I told him, you have more secrets you had to hide from me? He said, mm-hmm. And then I asked him, what? And he told me because my wife is an exercise teacher, she's very into the thing of being healthy, eating healthy food. She could be very, very, in the end, she could be very, and like, let's say, example, when they used to ask for lollipops, so she used to give them a toothpick with a tomato, a cherry tomato on it. Okay, that was how it was. And he told me, Abba, I took another 10 shekel, and I went and I ate pizza. And when he told me the pizza, he said the pizza was not whole wheat. So he got very nervous. He didn't know what's worse. If it's being worse, deal with the not healthy food or stealing. And I told him, Daniel, I'm very, very happy. That's a hard secret to keep for such a long time. And I understand it's hard for you not to take it. I understand if you see the money, it's very hard not to take. He said to me, yeah. I told him I'm very happy, and we'll speak about it tomorrow. And he said, how about I'll tell you the truth? So in this place, sometimes we don't want to know the truth. And this is something very important, because a lot of times when we deal with our kids, sometimes we don't really want to know what's happening. We ask them, how are you? And we want to hear everything's okay. We don't always want to deal with what's happening underground. And I told him, what do you want to tell me, Daniel? He told me, I had one more time. I went to the store and I took something. And the guy was selling the store, and he caught me. And I asked him, how do you feel about that? And he looks at me and he says, I felt red in my face. And I told him, and then he said, I also felt like I'm a thief. I'm a ganed. And when he told me that, it made me very, very happy. Why? Because when I wrote down what I did when I was young, I remember when I was young, when I was like 8, 10 years old, I also took some. I don't think a lot of people in the world didn't do that. And I had once a group of cops, they came to Retorno to a lecture, and I asked them the same question. Did none of you didn't take ever something? And like all the police looking at each other, all of them did. And I look at him and I remember when I was in a young age, I took something. I remember I was in a store and they took out a new chocolate bar. And I don't remember exactly, but the chocolate bar came out of the store together with me. And I remember that eating that chocolate bar, and it was not so good. Because I felt such pain inside. I felt so much guilt inside. That's horrible. And slowly, I got over it. And still continuing to eat all these chocolates. And one day my father caught me. And my father's a very big mechanech. He didn't scream at me. He didn't beat me up, of course. He just sat down in the room, and he sat down in front of me, and he cried. And I remember my thought inside my brain was, I'll never, never let my father know I steal again. He lost me. And if my father wants to help me, he has to be with my pain, not with his pain. And when I sat down with my kid, and I know now he's suffering, and I want to be with that sufferer, because then I could help him. Then he knows I'm not against eating that chocolate. The chocolate does a good feeling. That drug is doing a good feeling. The drug is not the problem. The problem is I know you want to be yourself. I know you don't want to hide something you don't like to do. I know you want to deal with yourself and be happy inside. And I know if you're running to somebody else, it means you're not happy from inside, you're happy from outside. So the first thing we have to know, if it's an addiction, it's a disease, it's pain inside, don't take away the alcohol. Don't say, if you do it again, I'll take it away. That's not always, doesn't help. It can help for the people. It's under 60% drinking for fun. Maybe they'll stop. But if we hear about the issue, if we hear it again and again, it's a problem already. So, and then first of all, we have to breathe. We have to see what it's doing to us, how it's affecting my life, knowing how I'm supposed to deal. Sometimes I see I can't help the addict, and I have to help the person around him. I have to help the person dealing with it now, and I have to help him to deal what's our job, how to communicate better with our kids. And sometimes it's really sitting down with ourselves, feeling for him, understanding he inside of him, he's dealing with it inside. We have to try finding the help. And if it's something big, you could call Retorno, you could call the people knowing about addictions, sending it to someone and doesn't know about addiction, it's missing up the idea of why he's doing it again and again. Sometimes we have to know now, this time, maybe we don't know how to deal with it. Maybe the pressure is not supposed to be by us. It could be from someplace else. If it was my kid, and I know now he's going out day after day in town and drinking, sometimes I want to come here, come to Eretz, take the plane, getting there, staying down with the kid and trying to listen to him. Maybe it's not us. Maybe it's somebody in the yeshiva could listen to him. But I want to get him to his help. And if he doesn't want help, and I'm suffering now, I'll get help to know how I'm supposed to deal with it, how I'm supposed to ask for help. And sometimes we will have to ask the question is to send him if we know about the problem. It doesn't mean it's not a good idea to send him to Eretz Yisrael or not, but if he's dealing with something, so we want to help him. Trusting the kid, knowing he could take responsibility on himself, knowing he wants to feel good. We just have to give him the options. We give him our hand. We can't hold him. We can't tie him. We can't bring him and close him inside. It's not the corona. Okay, it's not a disease. You could hold a person, put him outside, and being alone, and something will work. It doesn't work like that. We have to find our attachment, bring it back, and really finding a way to get to his heart. Sometimes we do have to understand some of the yeshivas, some of the SEMs, some of the college don't really have the ability to help him. And sometimes it won't be a good idea to keep them in a place he's going again and again and dealing with what he's doing inside. And so if we could really try to understand and trusting the process, knowing always it's a process. We don't have solutions like that. Only drugs work like that right away. That's not what we're working. We're working for a process. And sometimes sending it up to someone professional, someone who really has the ability to get to his heart, and it's a very, very big thing to do for our kids. And I have one of my clients is a young soldier, a very, very good-looking guy, and his mother is petrified. She's in so much pain inside. She's not sleeping in that because he's drinking. I don't know what's happening to him today. Maybe he'll die from it. And they came together, and I sit down with the kid, and I realize he's not drinking really so much. He's having a good time. He's not always responsibility. He doesn't have to take responsibility in his life. He had different kind of issues, but it's not something so big like the mother's doing it. But now I know, and I realize when I sit down in front of them, I realize the connection between the mother and the son is the mother's trying to save him. The mother's trying to keep him, not to deal with life alone. And she's trying to take responsibility. She calls him. She's trying to catch him. And I told him, he's 21 now. You can't do that anymore. And she said, I can't stop it. And I sit down to a session together with the mother. And I realized she did have a daughter, an older daughter, sister of this guy. And she had a very, very big problem with issues with drugs. So in that moment, right away, I felt, what's the fear of the mother killing the connection she had with her son? Because the pain she has inside, because all the fear she doesn't know how to express, and she's trying to really save that kid to get, no, don't go back there. Don't go inside that places, and don't do to me what your sister did to me. And if we understand that, we understand the problem is now not him drinking. The problem is, if I don't have a connection, the kid was starting to hide it from me. Exactly like when my father was crying down there, his tears was out. I said, I can't hurt him again. And I realized the boundaries my father gave me, it's not for me, it's for him. It's because I'm afraid what will happen to him. And so I have to, first of all, know how to take that out. That's my fear. Now I want to be with your pain. And if we have that ability to do that, I think it's such a big change. And one of my very big examples for that was a young kid, a young girl I met over in the Golan Heights when I went there to a lecture. And she was working there, and she comes to me after the lecture, and she tells me all of us, the waiters over here, we really wanted to listen. We didn't have the ability to listen. Come sit down together with us. And I'm speaking to them about it. Everybody's just smoking a little bit of weed and drinking, not big time. And we're speaking about that, like, not a lot of people know what's happening inside of you. And right away when I see in this girl's eyes, she looks at me, and I see in the eyes the pain. Like, how did you see that? How did you not speak about the drug and you spoke about what I deal inside? And I think the ability to be there with them, to be with our kids, is only if I have the ability to really express my emotions, know what I feel inside. And if I'm in pain, so I can't blame it on him, I have to first of all realize what's happening inside of me. And sometimes I'll need that help to really know what I'm supposed to do, what not to do, especially not pressurized, especially not fighting against the drug, and because it never helps. It's being with him. And if I don't have the ability to be with them, maybe I'll have to give him real help. And also if I do build a relationship between me and the kid, it could be building the relationship at every age. It doesn't have to be when the problem comes out, but when the problem comes out, when we see in the top of on the top, we see how people are really, he's dealing with something and he really wants to express it and he doesn't know how, and he's running away now, and we want to help him. Now what he needs is connection. Now what he needs is boundaries for him. And I realized, like, I sat down with Dandan that night after he stole something, after he had that pain inside of him, and I was able to be with his pain, not with my pain. And I could bring him all the boundaries. He had to pay the money, he had to send a letter to his mother and my wife and asking sorry. He wanted to do everything to really not feel the pain. And I told him, I will be with you. And I told him, probably you will want to run out there again. Probably you want to steal something again, because it's there, it's sitting down there. I could just take it. And I told him, if you will want to do it, but if you'll come and ask me before, I'll be able to help you. And I think the most precious thing I had when he called me a month and a half afterwards, and he told me, Abba, please tell Mom to take that box away. It's hard for me. And when he told me that, that made me such a big feeling. I had the ability to be with my kid. Also, if I was petrified, also if I was in my fear, I took care of that first. And then I was have the ability to help my kid, really. So I think really faith in the kid, believing in him, believing also the kid's doing all the mess up now. He just wants to feel good. And I have to give him that feeling. I can't take the drug before I give him the ability. So we'll have to find somebody to help him. We'll have to find inside a good yeshiva, a good environment around him to really give him that good place. He'll feel he's going up and he's building himself. And if we see that and we're feeling that pressure, sometimes instead of taking care of him first, it's seeing us before. If I'll see myself, I'll see what I feel, I'll have the ability also to realize what's really happening inside his heart, because we could stop, we could breathe before we pressurize.
Thank you so much, Yehuda Liff, for that very informative presentation. If you'd like more information for yourself or a family member, please contact Retorno. Visit our website at retorno.org or our Hebrew website, retorno.org.il, or send us an email, retorno@retorno.org.